Hello students, in this lecture we will see what amount of energy is stored in a capacitor. But before that, let us just see the definition of a capacitor. What a capacitor actually is. It was an energy storing device and it was a system made up of two conductors. One conductor, suppose if it has plus Q charge, then the other conductor will have minus Q charge. So now our question is, how can we save energy in a capacitor? So the answer is very simple, by giving it charge. So see, initially these two conductors won't be charged. Initially these two conductors will be neutral. Before constructing the capacitor, we'll be having two plates and those two plates will be neutral. What we will do, we will charge them in this way to form a capacitor. And while charging those plates in this manner, we'll have to do some work to charge those plates, and that work will be stored as energy of the capacitor. See, energy will be equal to work done in building up the charge Q on the plates of capacitor, which was initially neutral. Okay, so now when you will charge those plates, then what will happen? Between those plates there will be electric field, and so we can say that the energy in the capacitor will be stored in form of electric field between the plates of the capacitor. So simply now we'll start our derivation. Suppose, see, if you are having two plates, two neutral plates. So suppose this is first plate and suppose this is another plate. Now suppose this is plate 1 and plate 2. What you are doing is you are transferring, both these plates are neutral initially, okay? Now you are transferring positive charge from plate 2 to plate 1. So here I'll get one positive charge, okay? This charge, suppose whatever you have transferred is suppose Q charge you have transferred. So this plate has one positive charge. So now what remains behind? If you are removing one positive charge from this plate, then here it will have scarcity of one positive charge. And that's why I am writing a negative charge over plate 2. We have removed one positive charge. So what it will leave behind? A scarcity of positive charge. And so I can say that here one positive charge is extra. So here one negative charge will be extra. See, what do you understand by neutral plates? Suppose this plate has 50 electrons, then it will have 50 protons. So number of negative and positive charges will be equal. Okay. Suppose this plate has 20 electrons, then it will have 20 protons. So initially this also was neutral and this also was neutral. Now what we are doing, we are removing one positive charge from here. So now this becomes 50 electron plus 49 proton. Don't write this in any exam. This is just for your explanation. Okay. So now just see here. One positive charge we are sending here to plate 1. So we are left with one extra negative charge. See, positive was 49 and negative was 50. So I have one extra negative charge. Okay. So you can understand this in this way also, that as one positive charge is removed, we have one negative charge extra on plate 2. Now suppose you want to send another positive charge from plate 2 to plate 1. Now what will happen? I am starting from here. I am moving in this direction, and while moving in this direction, what will happen? This positive charge is going to repel this positive charge. It will not allow this positive charge now to come on this plate. Okay. That will be the electrostatic repulsion between these two charges. So now what I have to do? Now I have to do some work in order to bring this positive charge from plate 2 to plate 1. And that work done will be stored as energy of the capacitor. So I hope you all understood how the energy is stored in the capacitor. So what we will be doing, just see the figures. Suppose these are two plates, plate 1 and plate 2. So we are displacing positive charges from plate 2 to plate 1. So always plate 1 will be at higher potential, and that's why if you want to transfer a charge from lower potential to higher potential, then you will have to do work. Because what is the spontaneous process? The spontaneous process is that charges will always flow from higher potential to lower potential. आपको इससे उल्टा काम करना है, आपको लोअर पोटेंशियल से हायर पोटेंशियल की तरफ चार्ज को ले जाना है. तो ये करने के लिए यू नीड टू डू वर्क. So either understand it this way or else you understand it this way, that suppose if you have transferred one positive charge, now if you want to transfer another positive charge, then this positive charge is going to repel this positive charge. And still if you want to bring this positive charge on plate 1, then you will have to do work on that charge, and that work will be stored as energy of the capacitor. So now this is any intermediate condition that we have transferred these many charges on plate 1 from plate 2. So suppose these charges are dq, which we have transferred, and at any intermediate stage the positive charge on plate 1 is small q and negative charge is minus q on plate 2. And at the end, after transferring the amount of charge which we want from 2 to 1, at the end what we will have is the total charge on plate 1 will be capital Q and the total charge on the plate 2 will be minus Q. So now we'll start calculating the work done. So now suppose at any intermediate stage, the small amount of work done in transferring the charge dq from plate 2 to 1 is dw. Then how can we write the work done? We know the formula of work done, that work done is equals to charge into potential. So how we'll write the formula for dw? It will become dw is equals to charge into potential. So charge into potential. Okay, now I want total work done in building up the charge plus q and minus capital Q on the capacitor. So for total work done, what I'll do, I'll integrate the small amount of work done. So the total work is equals to integration dw. And what will be the limits? See, initially the charges on both the plates were neutral. Then we started transferring the positive charge on plate 1, and so at any intermediate stage the charges were small q on both the plates, and finally what was the charge on the capacitor plates? It was capital Q and capital minus Q. So initially the charges on the plate were 0 and finally the charges were q and minus q. So the limits of the integration will be from 0 to q. Okay, now I'll substitute the value of dw over here. So it will give me integration 0 to q. Instead of dw, I'll be writing this. So I'll write v first and then I'm writing dq. Now we know the formula for capacitance of a capacitor, right? And the formula was C is equals to q by v. Therefore V is equals to what? V will give me Q by C. Okay, so by using this equation, instead of V, here I'll be writing Q by C. So I will get the step like this. Instead of V, I'll write Q by C, dQ as it is. Now just see, the C is capacitance of our parallel plate capacitor, and if we are keeping dimensions of the capacitor constant throughout this process, then the capacitance also will be a constant, and therefore we'll move this C outside the integration. So it will become like this, 1 upon C integration 0 to Q. Here we are left with Q dQ. Now what is the integration of Q? It will be Q square by 2. So see, this will give me Q square by 2 by using the formula of integration. And what were our limits? 0 to Q. Now I will substitute both the limits. So what I will get is total work done is equals to 1 upon C. Instead of the small q, I have to substitute capital Q, upper limit minus lower limit. So I'll get Q square by 2 minus, instead of the small q, now I'll substitute the lower limit. So that is 0 divided by 2, that will give me 0. Okay. So now my complete answer from this will be Q square by 2C. So this is the work done. Okay, and we know that the work done will be equal to the energy stored in the capacitor. So from this, what I can write, that work done is equals to energy, therefore energy stored in the capacitor, I am writing En for energy. So energy stored in the capacitor will be Q square by 2C. Now see, we can write this equation in other forms also. As we know from the formula of capacitance, see, we know that C is equals to Q by V. So from this again, Q is equals to CV. So what we'll do, we'll substitute this value in equation 1. So what we'll obtain from equation 1, what I'll get is energy is equals to, instead of Q square, I will be substituting C square V square. So C square V square upon 2C. So 1C, C will get cancelled. So I'll get equation like this, CV square divided by 2. Okay, so one more formula for energy, that is CV square divided by 2. So this is another format. We have one more format in which we can write the energy stored in capacitor. Just see here, CV is equals to Q. So now in equation 2, I can substitute Q instead of CV. So what I'll obtain from equation 2, instead of CV, I will be writing Q. So just see, what I'll obtain is energy. This is CV into V, right? So for CV, I will be writing Q. 1 V was extra, so that will give me V divided by 2. So this is the third form of energy stored in a capacitor. So all the equations 1, 2 and 3 are the equations for energy stored in a capacitor. They are same equations, just they are having different forms.